It is once again that season of the year when tobacco farmers get rewarded for their toil, while at the same time generating the country's much-needed foreign exchange. Opening the tobacco marketing season in Lilongwe, Minister of Agriculture Rosa Mbirizi appealed to tobacco buyers to put the welfare of farmers first before everything. Rosa Mbirizi warned that no tobacco buyer should offer anything less than the minimum prices set. She assured farmers in the country that government of Professor Athapita Mutharika has resolved to protect farmers from exploitation. Mbirizi observed that although there is oversupply of tobacco, buyers should buy all the tobacco, as they did last marketing season. On production trends, Mbirizi asked the Tobacco Commission to ensure that production should always match demand to avoid oversupply. Mbirizi also asked Tobacco Commission to be innovative enough and consider investing in value addition in tobacco-related products than selling tobacco raw. Mbirizi then urged farmers in the country to be stewards of environment while also avoiding practices such as child or forced labor so that Malawi's tobacco production meets international standards. In sum, Mbirizi advised tobacco farmers in the country to desist from illegal cross-border trade of tobacco, saying it's a threat to the country's economy.
I've inspected the first day. Just for a few minutes, I saw that the tobacco that was on the auction, most of the bales were rejected, almost 99%. I had to speak to the buyers and Tobacco Commission to make sure that we stick to the minimum prices. And when we say minimum, it's minimum. The tobacco has to be bought above the minimum prices according to the grade. So since this is the first day, we expect improvements. But I'm watching, my eyes are there, and all of us want the best for our farmers. And in as far as the contract farming tobacco is concerned, the prices are very good. I really want to appreciate the buyers, our buyers. They are doing a good job.
Abi Matanda is Vice Board Chairperson for Tobacco Commission and says the Commission is committed to controlling smuggling of tobacco into neighboring countries.
Currently, we are, as a Tobacco Commission, having meetings with our foreign countries' counterparts. Like Zambia, shortly we'll be having a committee at the Chipata border to make sure that our tobacco doesn't cross border to Zambia or even Mozambique.
This marketing season, Malawi has 8 buying companies, and on the first day, tobacco prices ranged from $1.90 to $2.50 per kilogram. According to Tobacco Commission, Malawi has produced 197 million kilograms of tobacco against a market demand of 170 million kilograms. Isaac Jali, MBC, Lilongwe.
First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Victor Musowa, says the 3-week training program for members of Parliament underway will refine skills and strengthen their capacity to effectively deliver their constitutional mandate. He was speaking at the Malawi School of Government in Lilongwe when he officially opened the first cohort of the Parliamentary training program for members of Parliament. Olive Piri reports.
The Parliamentary training program dates back to the early 1990s and is said to have played a critical role in building the capacity of members of Parliament and enhancing the quality of debate and decision-making in the House. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Victor Musowa, says the Parliamentary training program is not just a mere academic exercise but a strategic investment in the effectiveness of Parliament. Musowa says the program equips the members to better perform their core functions of legislation, oversight and representation in a manner that is responsive and impactful. He has since urged the first cohort of the members of Parliament to actively engage during the program, share their experiences and challenge ideas in order to enhance their effectiveness as members of Parliament.
This training, I would say, is a mother of all the other trainings. This empowers members of Parliament with knowledge and activity-oriented practical skills. And as you've seen, the content or the curriculum of this program is more academic and practical.
Director General of the Malawi School of Government, Asiat Chiweza, says demands of modern governance require continuous intentional capacity building as legislators are strengthened through investment in knowledge and skills. Chiweza has since emphasized that the program is an investment in quality of democracy, the effectiveness of institutions, and transformation of the country.
We are doing this collaboratively with the Malawi Parliament. So this is a joint program that has been developed together with the National Assembly. As the National Assembly and the Malawi School of Government, this is something that builds on what Parliament has already been doing.
The first cohort of the Parliamentary Training Program consists of 45 members of Parliament. The training program is addressing areas such as constitution, powers and privileges, and legal framework governing Parliament, lawmaking, governance, democracy, and human rights, as well as local government administration. Olive Piri, MBC News, Lilongwe.
There are hopes of increased transparency and accountability in the Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development following the training of officers from the ministry on the use of IFMIS payment system. Speaking in Blantyre during the opening of the 2-week training, Director of Finance in the ministry, Friday Likwinji, said due to lack of proper training, some workers used to make costly mistakes that in turn affected service delivery.
So one of the challenges that came out, which was more prominent, was the gap that our officers have in using the IFMIS system, which sometimes results in sharing of passwords, and sharing of passwords is prone to abuse. So we thought of having this training before starting implementing the 2026-27 financial year, so that as we start implementing the programs, the interventions, these guys are more proficient in navigating the IFMIS, how we are utilizing the resources. So this training, I believe, will improve how we manage the resources that we are given as a ministry to implement the Pillar 1 of Malawi 2063, where we are implementing, as a ministry, we are implementing the agriculture productivity and the commercialization. So as we are implementing those interventions, we needed to be accountable. For every coin that we receive as a ministry, we needed to account for that. The only way we can improve on accountability is having such trainings as the one that we are having now.
In his remarks, IFMIS Director in the Department of the Accountant General, Masauko Kumwenda, said the officers will attain proficiency in the use of the IFMIS system.
Our expectation is that we are going to take them through the process of making payments right away from the procurement of assets and the services in general. So I think that's our expectation, that in the next 2 weeks we'll be able to equip them with the skills on how to navigate through the system in the areas I've mentioned.
Now, Minister of Transport and Public Works, Japi Muhango, has assured the public that government has identified a contractor to construct a temporary semi-concrete bridge on the damaged Nkoma Bridge along the M5 road in Nkota. Hassan Piri with the details.
The damage to Nkoma Bridge along the busy M5 road in Nkota has brought traffic to a standstill, leaving motorists and commuters stranded. Minister of Transport Japi Muhango visited the site to appreciate the extent of the destruction and the impact on road users. Muhango has since assured the public that government has already engaged a contractor to construct a semi-concrete makeshift bridge, which is expected to restore traffic flow within the next few days.
So what we've done is that we have engaged a contractor, China Civil. to build what we would call a semi-permanent bridge that will enable traffic to flow. So this diversion will be able to enable traffic to flow from the southern part to the northern part and vice versa. So the work has started today, and I'm very happy that this is the case. We believe that in the next 10 days, all else being equal, we should be able to open the semi-permanent diversion so that there's free flow of traffic on this important road.
He further noted that most roads across the country have been affected by the ongoing heavy rains, leading to widespread potholes and damage. Despite the challenges, Muhango said the government under Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's leadership is committed to rehabilitating all damaged roads by December this year.
The problem in this country is that for the past 5 years, the government then was stepping on the job. They never paid attention to road rehabilitation, road maintenance. That has been the problem. Why was that the case? The government abandoned correcting fuel level, because in fuel level there are two components. There is money that is used to build or to bring electricity to rural areas, MAREB. But there's also money for road maintenance. So all that money was not being collected. As a result, the government ran out of money to maintain, let alone build new roads.
Nkoma Bridge was damaged last week following heavy rains, resulting in prolonged traffic congestion along the M5 road, which is one of the busiest roads in the country. Hassan Piri, MBC News, Mzuzu.
And this is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Government appeals for fair prices as the tobacco marketing season opens in Lilongwe. Minister of Transport says contractor has been identified to construct a temporary bridge at Nkoma in Kotakota. And in sport, the Malawi Under-23 national netball team set for 2026 Telecom League in South Africa.
Exporters are more competitive worldwide.
Magaga, kwa sochiluka, spika kusisi, ndiyankolani. Kamalo kacheba, kumazokolola, kamwemwa. Izi ni mbewu zogwizana ndi kusintha kwa nyengo, zopirira kuchitala. Ndipo zimalola zigawo zonse za dziko lino. Iphani makwacha, komanso thisani njala, kolima mbewu za spika kusisi. Spika kusisi, mbewu ndenga.
Welcome back. The Lilongwe Magistrates Court has given 14 days to the state and the defense teams to file written submissions in a case involving Malawi Congress Party MCP Secretary General Richard Chimwendo Banda and Alfred Dala Kadula. The two are being accused of attempting the murder of Frank Chawanda in February 2021. This follows an application by the defense that there should be a preliminary inquiry before the matter is committed to the High Court. We have a report.
When the court reconvened on Monday for committee of proceedings, a process where accused persons are informed that the matter will be heard by the High Court, the defense made an application to the court. Defense lawyer Kwima Mchizi says the defense believes that there is need for the lower court to conduct a preliminary inquiry in order to test the evidence that the state has for the accused before the matter is brought before the High Court.
We made an application that the matter be handled under our Section 263 of the Criminal Procedure and Evidence Code, that there be an inquiry before the matter is committed to the High Court. So that's what we did, and the state has not responded today, But what has been agreed at the bar is that we should both make written submissions over the issues, and then the court will make a determination on the same.
Representing the State Director of Criminal Litigation, Zigondi Antumalunda, says they were not given prior notice for the state to file written submissions on the issues raised by the defense.
Lawyers for Honorable Richard Chimendo Banda made an application to the court that they think the matter is not fit to be tried in the High Court, and then they made their arguments. For reasons that for us we are not given prior notice, we are just ambushed, we asked the court that they should give us time so that we can file our written submissions, and the court has done so and given us 14 days for us to file written submissions on the issues raised.
The court has since given both state and defense till the 8th of May 2026 to file written submissions to allow the court make determination and set a date for the hearing.
The Mangochi Municipal Council is set to boost revenue collection following the adoption of electronic transaction system. Chief Executive Officer for the municipality, Ernest Kadzokoya, said that under the new system, revenue collectors will no longer handle cash in markets, a move which will help improve efficiency and reduce risks associated with cash payments. Francis Banda has filed this report, read by Owen Mavula.
Driven by the increase in adoption of digital financial transactions, Mangochi Municipal Council is rolling out digital payment system in a move to promote cashless transactions. In an interview with MBC, Chief Executive Officer for the municipality, Ernest Kadzokoya, said the transition from the old ticketing system to electronic comes at a time when the council is failing to collect enough revenue projected at over 100 million kwacha per month. He said currently the council collects less than 60 million kwacha a month, a development partly attributed to fraud, as some revenue collectors collect funds without issuing receipts.
We are transitioning from paper-based way of collecting revenue to automation. We're automating our system. So far we have engaged at the consultant, the Mwanza District Council. They have the ICT gurus who are championing a modern system of revenue collection. So they have already trained our personnel. Currently we are soliciting the gadgets that will be used in this process. So we are way high in terms of the process of procuring services of automation. This will create trust between our vendors, our business people. Will create trust in the system because of what issues there have been some sort of mistrust in the way our revenue collectors have been conducting their business. They have raised a lot of complaints. So as a way of addressing that, that's why we thought of coming up with this modern system of e-ticketing revenue generation.
Commenting on the development, chairperson for Mangochi Civil Society Network, Joseph Makwakwa, advised the council to take this as an opportunity to maximize revenue collection to fund different services.
Currently, there's a lot of demand. When you go to our markets, sanitation is very poor. When you ask them, they'll tell you about the budgets. They don't have enough revenue to meet the expenses, the cost of meeting the sanitation requirements. So this time around, since we have more revenue coming into the council, it's more revenue coming to the council, unlike previously, whereby you could have more revenue, but not all revenue is going to the council, as proven in other councils. So to us, we feel this is a very welcome, and it will improve service delivery at the council level.
A 2024 digital transactions report indicates that the point of sale transactions and volumes grew by 6.9%, and the national switch transactions increased by 7.7%.
In sport, the Malawi Under-23 national netball team is set to participate at the 2026 Telecom Netball League in South Africa. The games will be played from this coming Friday, April 24th to 2nd May. Amin Musa with the details.
The team's coach, Joanna Kachilika, has selected 25 players to participate at the tournament. Speaking after announcing her squad, Kachirika said having spent about 2 weeks in camp, the future for the tournament looks promising.
We prepared well. At first we had a total of 37 players, of which coming up with the final list of 15, we've seen their fitness, capabilities and their performances. So we're not just going there to participate, but we're going there to compete.
Netball Association of Malawi President Vitumbiko Gubuduza believes that the tournament will expose players to the world.
I believe that shows that the league is very good, and we believe that through that tournament our young girls will also be exposed. A lot of people will be watching just the same way they watch the league in Australia or England. We believe that also a lot of those scouts will also be playing will also be watching the games in South Africa. So this is also a platform.
Malawi National Council of Sports Development Officer Wizam Soya said government expect the girls to raise the country's flag high.
We are expecting that they are not just going there to participate, but they are also going there to compete and put the Malawi nation flag on the map. We are expecting a lot. At the same time, we also know that this is part of long-term athlete development.
Malawi and Zimbabwe have been invited as guest teams. Junior Queens will start by facing KD Queens on Friday and they'll play 8 games. Amin Musa, NBC Sport, Blantyre.
Government says it is taking steps towards addressing the numerous chieftaincy wrangles across the country. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, said this after the burial of Senior Chief Jampiti IV of Ncheu, who died last Friday. Piri said government is aware that such wrangles are slowing down progress on issues of development, hence its seriousness about addressing these issues. We have a report compiled by reporters Hudson Nkumbira and Patrick Dambula.
Delivering a message from the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Ben Piri, said the President is saddened by the loss of 3 senior chiefs from Maseko Ngoni clan within a space of 9 months. These are Senior Chief Kajindamoto 6 of Dedza, the late Senior Chief Kwararine IV of Ncheu, and now Senior Chief Jampiti IV. The minister added that chieftaincy wrangles, which have become numerous in the country, affect both development and service to the people. Hence, government has taken serious measures to address the same. He outlines some of the steps government is taking on the issue.
We have set up commissions where necessary. We have engaged the families to make sure they negotiate, because usually the cases are to do with one family and another within the same family, and we are saying why should they be defranchising people that they serve. So we have agreed that they will have to discuss, agree on one person. If they don't do that, then we'll move to another family where they have got peace, promote them and make sure that they are providing the services to the people.
Deputy Minister of Homeland Security, who is also a Member of Parliament for Ncheu Central East, Norman Chisale, said the departed chief was one of his advisors. In his remarks, on behalf of Ngwenyama Inkosi Yamakosi Gomani 5, Inkosi Makwangwala said he expects the Jampiti family to successfully respect the traditional patrilineal succession plan.
All family members, the royal family, should follow our culture. Our system here in Ncheu, as the Ngoni people, the Maseko Ngoni people, is a patrilineal system whereby a son should succeed his late father. So no doubt that the son of the deceased chief is going to inherit the chieftaincy here at the Champit headquarters. That's the message from Inkosi Yamakosi Gomani 5.
During the ceremony, former Super League of Malawi football referee Moffat Jampiti was unveiled as the Crown Prince. Born modern Moffat Jampiti in 1942, the late Senior Chief Jampiti IV is survived by a wife and 2 children.
Well, that item concludes this edition of MPC News. A reminder of the top stories before we leave. Government appeals for fair prices as the tobacco marketing season opens in Lilongwe. Minister of Transport says contractor has been identified to construct a temporary bridge at Nkoma in Kotagota. And in sport, the Malawi Under-23 national netball team set for 2026 Telecom League in South Africa. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You are with me, Sifati Msusa, alongside our sign language interpreter, Savita Wilima. From the entire news team, it's thanks for watching and bye for now.
Good evening. It's time for the weather forecast. We have some reports of rain this morning over Iponga, which registered 27 meters. This is in Kalonga. 14 over Kapolo is also in Kalonga. But light rains were experienced over Mimosa, Chikangawa, and Nzuzo Airport. We expect warm to hot and partly cloudy weather conditions to dominate in the next 2 days due to the fact that we are getting warm and less moist air getting into Malawi blowing from the Indian Ocean. Therefore, tonight we expect most areas to be clear and few rain showers are possible over northern areas like Chitipa and Kalonga. During morning hours, we expect cool conditions over Lilongwe and Nzimba. Temperatures drop to 17, but warm conditions along the lakeshore areas and also in the Shire Valley. Nkabu just dropped to 26 degrees Celsius. That's very uncomfortable for the night conditions. In the morning hours, we expect to see more sunny spells, but clouds will start developing over some higher grounds in the south, central, and also in the north. Later in the afternoon, we expect temperatures to pick up to 36 degrees Celsius in the Shire Valley, while along the areas like Mangochi and Salima, temperatures will be at around 32 degrees Celsius. Warm conditions are expected over Nzuzu and Chitipa. We expect to see more clouds in the afternoon over the southern highgrounds, central, and also over the north. A chance of rain possible over Chitipa and Kalonga. Looking further to Wednesday, we expect hot and partly cloudy weather conditions over more areas. Chance of rain possible over northern highgrounds like Chitipa and also northern lakeshore like Kalonga. That's the forecast. Good night.
And all their modern